You know, artificial intelligence, it's not sci-fi anymore, is it? It's right here, right now. It's in your phone, your car, the shows you stream. It's so deeply woven into our world that it's forcing us to ask some of the biggest questions we've ever faced.
And really, it all comes back to this one question, a question first asked way back in the 1950s by the legendary Alan Turing, one of the godfathers of AI. It's the puzzle that started this whole revolution. So, let's really dig into it. All right, so to even try to answer Turing's big question, we have to get on the same page about what intelligent or smart even means. And as you'll see, that's way trickier than it sounds. So you've basically got two big camps here. The classic view is the Turing test. If an AI can chat with you and you can't tell it's a machine, boom, it's intelligent. But the modern view is a little different. It's less about faking being human and more about just getting stuff done, acting rationally to hit a goal. By that definition, you could almost say your thermostat has a tiny spark of intelligence, because its one goal is to keep the room at the right temperature, and it acts to do just that. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? We don't care if a Boeing 747 can fool a pigeon. We just care that it can fly, safely and efficiently. And that's kind of how modern AI researchers think. The goal isn't to build a perfect human mimic, it's to build a tool that can solve problems, maybe even better than we can.
But here's the thing, all that problem solving, all that thinking that today's AI does, it comes at a staggering and often hidden cost.
You know, when you use something like ChatGPT, it feels so clean, so effortless, right? But behind that simple text box is a physical reality. These enormous, warehouse-sized data centers, humming with thousands of processors, all chugging unbelievable amounts of electricity.
And when you look at the numbers, it's just, whoa. It is mind-boggling. The human brain, probably the most complex object in the known universe, runs on about 20 watts of power. That's less than a dim light bulb. An AI data center, it can pull over 100 megawatts. That's enough electricity to power a small city. We've built this incredible artificial brain, but it is ridiculously hungry.
So, what's the solution to this massive energy problem? Well, it turns out some of the smartest people in the field are looking right inside our own heads for the answer.
There's a team at Texas A&M University that's working on something they call Super Turing AI. And the core idea is pretty genius. Instead of trying to make our current computers bigger and faster, why not redesign them from the ground up to work more like our own super efficient brains?
So how does this actually work? Well, in our brains, thinking and remembering happen in the same place. They're all mixed together. This new AI does the same thing. It gets rid of that constant energy-wasting shuffle of data between memory and processor. And the results are wild. In one test, they put this system in a drone, and it taught itself how to get through a complicated maze on its own, with zero training beforehand. That's a game changer.
And the lead researcher, Dr. Suan Yi, really puts it perfectly. She says, modern AI like ChatGPT is awesome, but it's too expensive. We're going to make sustainable AI. It's not just about making AI smarter, it's about making it work for us and for the planet.
Okay, so let's say we solve the energy problem. We get this super efficient AI. We're still not out of the woods, not by a long shot, because now we have to figure out how to live with this incredibly powerful new thing. It's like the rules for the game are being written while we're already playing.
And make no mistake, this is a global race. All across the world, countries and governments are scrambling to put up some guardrails to create some kind of rule book for AI. It really is a new kind of digital Wild West, and everyone's trying to be the sheriff.
And the ethical questions here they're huge. They touch every single part of our lives. I mean, if a robot in a hospital makes a mistake, who's to blame? How do you program a self-driving car to choose who to save in an accident where there's no good outcome? And the big one, can we or should we ever let a machine make the final call on life and death in a war zone?
So all these different cases, they really boil down to a few core challenges that we have to solve. Things like, how do we stop our own biases from being baked into the AI? How do we protect our privacy? How do you hold an algorithm accountable when you don't even know how it made its decision? And what about the millions of jobs that are going to be affected? These are the tough questions on the table right now. And that brings us to our last section, and maybe the most human problem of all. We can make AI faster, more efficient, maybe even ethical, but can we ever make it wise? Can we give it good old-fashioned common sense?
It all comes down to this idea of tacit knowledge. It's a fancy term for all the stuff you know without even knowing how you know it. It's that gut feeling, that intuition about how the world works that you've just soaked up over your entire life.
Here's a super simple example. You know this is true, right? You can't push on a rope. You don't need a PhD in physics, you just know. That's a tiny piece of your common sense understanding of the world, and it's exactly the kind of thing that AI is just terrible at.
So, that's the big puzzle, right? How in the world do you teach a machine all the millions of unwritten, unspoken rules that we use to navigate reality every single day? That common sense gap, that might just be the final frontier for AI.
Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. We are, for sure, making AI smarter and more powerful every single day. But will all that raw intelligence, all that processing power, ever actually add up to real understanding, to wisdom? The answer to that is going to shape our future in ways we're just beginning to imagine.